I'm Dr. Andrew Manley, President and CEO of Maryland Progressive Institute, located at 4509 East Monument Street, here in the city of Baltimore. Maryland Progressive Institute is a non-public special ed school for at-risk youth. Our mission is to provide a safe and clean environment that is conducive to learning. Special needs students should have the right to attend schools with small group settings where they're able to be amongst peers without having to endure the pressures of bullying and not be faced with the trauma of not being able to keep up in their efforts to learn. Special education was first introduced in the state of Florida in 1975 to provide the necessary services that at-risk youth were so much in need of. I moved here to Baltimore 2 years ago after having run a very successful special ed school in Los Angeles, only to discover that of the 14 special ed, non-public special ed schools here in the city of Baltimore, not a single one was black owned. Yet, a little over 50% of the students who are in these programs are black. I felt good about the move here because I knew that we could do an excellent job as a result of the cultural linkages we naturally have with the majority of these student bodies. Unfortunately, I also found that due to the level of racism here in the city of Baltimore, the services I began to offer were counterproductive. It's very unfortunate. The education system here in Baltimore is run and controlled by the Good Old Boys Network, and there is not room for a black-owned, non-public special education school. It costs a lot of money to send kids to a non-public special education school, but it doesn't cost the parent anything. The funding comes from the federal government, the state, and the local school district. I also discovered that despite the need for additional insights and help, that the Board of Education here in the city of Baltimore, even though there is an overwhelming number of black administrators, they are nothing more than gatekeepers to the interests of corporate America. And the services I offer are counterproductive because the design of the education system here in the city of Baltimore seemingly is to prepare our young men and women for the prison system. The majority of our students graduating on graduation day are walking across the stage to the tune of pomp and circumstance without the ability to read, write sufficiently, or even count money. That says to me that then we have an entire generation of black and brown and other socioeconomically deprived students who are being prepped simply for the prison system. I also discovered that the industrial prison complex, which is owned by investors, are in the process of suing the state of Maryland simply because Maryland is sending too few students to prison for at least 20 years. They're sending too few prisoners to prison. I think that is despicable. It was confusing at first in that as a result of having lived as many years as I have, and as a result of having been functional in the special ed non-public school sector, I made the mistake of assuming that we could come to Baltimore with our level of expertise and partner with the Baltimore City public school system. I am totally unwelcome. After 1 year of being in service and fighting to keep our doors open, we have one student, and they're refusing to send more students. I also discovered that in the city of Baltimore, per capita, there are more black administrators than any school system I know of in the United States. Yet they are nothing more than yes men and women who dance to the tune of the corporate interests. And that is despicable. We are selling our kids out. They have no hope. They are not motivated. The schools here at the public school level are a joke. Bullying is taking place on school campuses, and to the extent where the young girls 10, 11, 12 years old are being bullied into engaging in sexual activity while on campus. Drug usage is rampant on our campuses, and who cares? When you talk to the administrators downtown at the school board office, they are not interested. These Negroes are looking at one thing: keeping their mouths closed and doing what they are told to do, and hopefully be able to hang on until they can retire with a good salary. Again, they are nothing but gatekeepers to the interests of corporate America, because they continue to laughingly, joyfully turn a blind eye and deaf ear to the dilemmas that our children face daily. We're going to have a community meeting here at Maryland Progressive Institute on Saturday, February 2nd. The meeting will commence at 11 o'clock, and I'm inviting you down to the school to sit with us during a roundtable session, and we will begin the process of addressing the needs of our kids. We have kids here in the Baltimore City school system who don't even go to class or do a single piece of work, yet they are being passed on to the next grade without having to do any work. And again, on graduation day, these kids, 18, 19, 20 years old, are marching across stage, receiving a diploma without the ability to read, write, or even count money. Sometimes silence is sinful, and I think the time has come for us to begin to ask the question: why is it that our kids in the Baltimore system, why is such a concerted effort being put forth to prep these young men and women for a life of imprisonment, in that they're certainly not going to be able to get a job without the ability to read or write? Dope is being used and passed to our young kids on campuses. We offer a ray of hope. Of the 14 schools, and this one being the only black one, we're approved by the state of Maryland, even though we just have one kid. It costs about $67,000 a year for a kid to come to this school. However, the cost is about $90,000 for the same services provided that the white schools offer our black kids. And there is no room for black entrepreneurship here in the state of Maryland, because racism is alive and well. And I say to our black sisters and brothers downtown, who supposedly head the board of directors at Baltimore City Public Schools, shame on you. How could you stand by and sell our children out like you've been doing for the last 20 years? Well, your time of vacation is coming to an end, because we intend to revisit your maladaptive behaviors and seek ways to offer hope to our children. We'll see you next week. In the meantime, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Maryland Progressive Institute. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you soon. But in the meantime, don't forget to put on your calendar on Saturday, February 2nd at 11 a.m. We will rally here at Maryland Progressive Institute at 4509 East Monument Street. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you then. Meanwhile, tune in, and we'll be talking to you soon.